Yo guys, inside this video, I'm going to be answering the question of whether you should get into social media marketing and start a marketing agency, or whether you should get into a skilled role such as high ticket sales. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is simply because of a question I received from a viewer where he asked, how do I get into marketing? Now, when you kind of think about it more deeply, a lot of you guys who are looking to get into marketing or looking to maybe even actually get into high ticket sales, what's the underlying reason why? Well, 90% of the time it's going to be money, right? You want to be making money, you want to be having a life of freedom that all of these gurus online have kind of promoted to you, right? So let me break down kind of my perspective on which route I would personally go down. And this comes from my own experience. And to give you a bit of background context, I actually first started out with a marketing agency back in around 2021 when I was still in university. I had a few paid ads clients, I had a few social media management clients, and I'll be real, it didn't really last too long, simply because I didn't know what I was doing. And then fast forward 2022, I actually dropped out of my first year of uni, and I was still pushing and forcing to try and grow this marketing agency. I'd went from trying to work with local businesses to trying to work with e-com brands and then eventually trying to work with influencers, and nothing seemed to click. And I fully believe the reason why is simply because of two things. Number one is that I kind of didn't really know what I was doing because I didn't have enough touch points and experience and learning to know what I was doing. And number two is because it wasn't really aligned with my vision. So it came to a point around early 2023 where I just entirely let go of this idea of having a marketing agency. And I wouldn't say I gave up, but I'd more so say that I removed so much importance that I had on seeing results to a point where I was open to anything else coming my way that was also aligned with the lifestyle that I wanted to live with my vision. And what happened is some crazy shit, because I actually received opportunities out of nowhere from one of my friends who had a very successful content agency at the time. And he actually handed over some of his clients to me to manage literally out of nowhere. I didn't have to do any outreach. I didn't have to do any cold emails, cold calls, none of that shit. I just literally got it handed to me. Removing importance can create massive opportunities for you, because when you have so much importance on one thing and when you're putting the marketing agency business model on a pedestal and £10,000 per month on a pedestal, it's like, bro, you're always going to remain separate from that thing. So number one, remove importance. Number two, look at what's aligned with your vision. Okay, because for me, I didn't really want to be handling a marketing agency for the rest of my life. Now, by the way, guys, it's proper windy outside. There's some kind of storm in the UK, so allow it if it's quite loud on the background noise of this video. But anyway, I started working for my friend's agency and I was managing a few of his clients, pretty much doing my own thing. At the same time, I'd also got into appointment setting. Now, appointment setting for me was like, fuck, man, why am I doing appointment setting when I could just run my own marketing agency and sign my own clients? And I'll tell you the reason why I decided to stick to it is simply because of one thing that my mentor at the time said, and he was also the guy that I was appointment setting for, is that you must learn to earn. And this kind of stuck with me because I realized that up until this point, in around Feb 2023, I didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I'd just be watching YouTube videos, but I'd never really been on many sales calls. I'd never really had many conversations with leads to actually close them into clients. And so I was like, cool, you know what? This guy's very successful. Let me actually follow his advice. And I did. And before I knew it, I was making more money than I ever was. I'd signed multiple appointment setting clients. I was able to travel the world doing what I want, making money whilst walking on a beach, making money whilst walking on the streets of New York. I was just living my life. And this is when it clicked. I realized that sometimes it's not about following your ego and trying to follow all of these business models that online gurus promote, but simply about just aligning with your vision, aligning with what you truly want deep down, okay, and just letting things flow for you. And so eventually, over the span of 2023, I stuck with appointment setting and I positioned myself in positions of leverage where I could learn so much and have so many touch points compared to the guy who's trying to fucking force start a marketing agency, a 19-year-old kid who's just like come out of school. I'd had so much more touch points and experience than these people that I could start anything that I wanted at any time I wanted. It was simply a case of like cashing in my checks. That was literally it, to kind of put it into a quote, right? And every time I was learning a new lesson, it was almost like me depositing something into a bank. And this bank is where like my lessons and my learnings would compound over time. And I know they're still compounding because I'm still learning. So the biggest thing is just, are you chasing egotistical goals, and do you just want like a £10,000 per month marketing agency because like you're so fixated and putting so much importance on that? Or are you willing to just remove your ego and focus on learning and be in a season of learning, especially whilst you're young? I feel like social media as well has put so many crazy expectations on kids these days. They think that they need to be pushing a Lambo by 21. And I'll be real, like, it's a good goal to have. But when you attach so much lack and scarcity to you not having that Lamborghini, that's the problem, right? Or having that lifestyle, that's the problem. Because when you're operating from a state of lack and scarcity, you're never going to have it. You're always going to be separate. You're always going to think, oh man, I need to do this. I need to be like these guys. And being in a state of needing is not being in a state of having. So there's so much more deeper foundations that you must have in place with your mindset as well. I'm going to break this down in a little more detail. Let's say you're a marketing agency owner and you've just come out of school, you're 19 years old, and you also have another version of you in a different reality who's also 19 years old, blank slate, come out of school, and this guy decides to get into high ticket sales. Now I'm going to explain the two journeys of both of these guys. Number one, the 19-year-old guy has zero experience in marketing. Let's say he's trying to market for e-com brands. First of all, who's he going to be competing with? Well, some of the biggest guys in the industry, guys that have been in the game since the flipping dawn of the internet. And what does this mean? Well, it means that he kind of undervalues himself and he only works with small e-com brands, and he does outreach, he does cold email. He's never really had any sales experience in his life. And let's say he only gets 2 sales calls per week. And that's pretty good numbers for someone who's actually starting out. You'll be surprised. Some guys can't even fucking book a call. And on the flip side, you've got the guy in high ticket sales who's landed a role where he's able to learn, he's able to take discovery calls, he's able to position himself in a place of leverage at such a young age where he's able to take 40 calls per week. And can you see the difference? Logically break it down. The guy who's learning high ticket sales is going to be building the same skills as the guy who's running the agency, which is sales. And he's also going to be learning 20 times quicker and making money 20 times quicker because he has way more touch points. He has a calendar packed out full of leads. He's going to have way more individual one-to-one calls with people so that his feedback loops are going to be so short that he's constantly improving literally hour on hour throughout his day. Whereas the agency owner is only improving every week, once a week, because he only has 1 call per week. And then guess who after a year is going to be making more money? Well, still the sales guy. The guy who's learned sales is going to only get better, and he's going to still continue to get 20 times better than the agency owner in a much shorter time frame. And at this point, the sales guy can now cash in his checks and he can start whatever he wants. He's going to have all of this capital stacked up, and it's up to him whether he puts that into investments and lives off the returns of the investments, which is a smart way to move, or it's up to him whether he starts an e-com brand or does something that's truly aligned with him. Whereas the agency owner is going to have to manage a team, he's going to have to manage client expectations on top of all of the sales stuff. Do you really want to be running a marketing agency, bro? That's the question. Do you really want this? You just got to think, man. There's not just one set business model that you have to follow. Like, my guy, there's people making hundreds of thousands of pounds selling fucking coloring books. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. People making millions selling coloring books. Like, who said that you have to start a marketing agency and run Facebook ads for roofers? You're just trapped in the matrix of another guru. Really just think bigger, dream bigger as well, yeah? And logically think about what you're doing and what route you're going down, because it's not just a 1-year game and oh yeah, by 1 year's time I'll have a Lambo and I'll be able to flex on social media. No, it's not that, man. Think 10 years down the line, think 20 years down the line. Where do you want to be with your family What kind of foundations do you want to have set up? Because every business has a birth date and a death date, and that's just a fact. So just focus on the skills, especially when you're younger, man. That's what I would suggest. This is me just talking from the heart right now. This is me just talking from my personal experience as well. Kind of comes down to this. It's your choice. Do what's aligned with you. If you want to start a fucking fitness coaching business, then start that. If you want to start a coloring book business, then start that. There's literally nothing stopping you apart from your own beliefs in your mind. Have a clear vision and just stick to it with consistent action, and you're gonna win no matter what you do. So this video's took a bit of a side tangent, kind of me talking raw and authentically from my heart, but hopefully this helps some of you guys. In fact, I know it's gonna help some of you guys. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at MindofKian. I'm very responsive in my DMs. I answer all of your questions. And yeah, who knows, I might make a video on one of your questions too. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.